I moved from Washington, D.C. to Ghana almost half a year ago now, and as much as I've been screaming Ghana, Ghana, Ghana on this app, and will still scream Ghana, Ghana, Ghana on this app, yeah, I miss my friends, and I miss my family, and I miss Chick-fil-A. Do I miss America enough to go back? Yeah, absolutely not. But I do definitely miss my friends and my family and just being in the same time zone as the people I love. Shout out to my sister because she did move to Ghana with me. Everyone knows that making friends as an adult is tough. Making friends as an adult who decided to move across the globe might be tougher. In my opinion, I definitely think I'm going to make it this serious because I've definitely met a lot of great people here in Ghana, and I continue to meet a lot of great people, but it's hard finding genuine connection, especially being in a completely different environment than I'm used to.
So it's been about like 10 months since our family of 5 had moved to Ghana from New York City, and I'll be real, like, it's the best thing we've ever could have fucking done, like, ever. Like, people really underestimate the whole, like, cost of living and quality of life thing. Like, yo, in America, to achieve the lifestyle that we have here in Ghana, like, we would literally not see our kids. We would literally, like, never hang out with them, never get to do the things that we get to do with them here. Like, because what you got to do in America to achieve any type of lit lifestyle is you have to work fucking hard or do something legal, and that just jeopardizes your freedom and your, you know, the time with your kids ultimately, which, you know, is our top priority, really. Is we want to raise our kids, we want to spend time with our kids, we want to make sure that we're raising these little humans to be the best little humans they could be when they're older, right? Like, we got our own compound, we got all the help around us, we got security, we got a property manager, you know what I'm saying, we got a nanny, we got a homeschool teacher. Like, think about how much all this shit will cost and how much you really gotta sacrifice to get this shit in America. Like, you gotta drop your kids off to fucking daycare or public school or whatever school, boarding school, private school, if you got the bread. And what you're doing that for? You're not doing that to educate your kids. You're doing that because you gotta go to fucking work and you can't take care of your kids. That's why you're doing it in America. I think this is gonna be a longer rant than I expected, so I'm gonna need a part 2. I'm gonna talk about the lifestyle that we live here in Ghana, like what we got going on, like the shit that we don't got going on. Cause this shit is important for people to know, cause y'all really gotta get the fuck out of America. That shit is a fucking trap, yo. Like, it's a trap.
Hello, my name is Pamela Beckham, and I am from Florida. But we just purchased an apartment here, and I'm gonna be one of you. I love you people. I love this country. I love everything about Ghana. I've been watching you now for a whole year, and I'm finally here. I feel like I'm home.
My name is Alice Winston. I'm from Maryland, USA, and I just love this country. I just feel safe when I walk the street. I don't have to look. I don't look over my shoulder to see who's following me or trying to rob me. This is a beautiful place. We just purchased they call it an apartment. We call it a condo in the US of A, and I love it here. And this will be my home.
Hey everybody, I'm Roy. All I gotta do is say, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Welcome back.
So we keep getting positive reviews from people that have been here in Ghana, especially African Americans that have moved back to Ghana to settle down. But trust me, in all honesty and in all reality, before you get to this point where you have good reviews or where you have to talk about Ghana in this manner that they have talked about Ghana, there are certain things that you need to know, else you are not going to come back with this kind of reviews. There are certain things you need to put in place. There are certain things you need to actually know beforehand, certain information that you need to know beforehand before you can be able to join this bunch of people who are actually bringing out these good reviews out of the time they spent here. That is why in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some information that you need to know beforehand as an individual or as an African American that is actually planning to relocate to Ghana, whether permanently or for a short stay. There are certain things you need to know, and that is what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. So go ahead and take your pen and paper, because of course you will need to do some jotting at some point. Okay, you guys, I am so sorry. I actually lost the audio of this video, so I just thought to do like a voice over for it and just put it in. So it's definitely not going to be aligning with my or with the visuals rather. Okay, so quickly, the number one thing you need to put in mind as an African American moving to Ghana or planning to move to Ghana is finances. You guys, trust me, you would need to take your own track record or have a record or a valid record of how much you will need when it comes to moving into Ghana or when it comes to living in Ghana. There are two different things, right? When you are moving into Ghana, there are different kind of or different amount of finance that you will be required of, such as your proof of funds, such as your visa fees, such as your flight fees, and all of those fees, right? That is before you come to Ghana. Then another one in the finance is going to be when you started living in Ghana. You are going to need money for your house rent. You are going to need money for your stay. You are going to need money for food, transportation, whatever. Like every single thing as contained in finance, you are going to really need your finance checked. You are going to need a bunch of information or a critical information about how much you need in total when it comes to living here in Ghana or moving to Ghana. Now, when it comes to moving to Ghana, there are some things that you also need to know as per your finance, like as it relates to your finance. Because first of all, if you are coming from countries where you are required to, apply for visas and wait, okay, you would need to know how much the visa fee costs, right? And you would need to know how much is required of you as an individual moving to Ghana in your proof of funds, like the kind of funds, how much of the funds that you have to be able to come here and live, because of course there are certain amounts in your proof of funds, right, that you will need to have. There are certain amount that is allowed for you to have in your bank account to enable you get your visa, right? Else you will not get your visa. So once that is settled, you need to know the right amount. And for you to know the right amount, I feel like you should call the visa office or go to the embassy in your location, wherever country that you are in, and get all of these details, right? Make sure you are getting your details right so that you don't end up, not having enough funds or not knowing the exact funds that you would need to have, okay? Because one thing you don't want to do is come to Ghana and be stranded. Nah, that is one thing you don't want to do. Another thing you want to consider when it comes to moving into Ghana is security. Yes, I know a lot of people will tell you that Ghana is safe, and like 80% or 70% of people will tell you that have lived in Ghana will tell you that, okay, Ghana is safe and everything. Yes, while there is safety in Ghana, there is also the need to actually put in your mind in what the environment is and what the environment looks like. I'm going to explain it like you putting the extra effort to be safe, because of course Ghana is safe, but then again there is a need for you to do your due diligence. Right now, when it comes to petty stealing, when it comes to petty theft and all of those things, it is real in Ghana and you need to know about it, right? You need to know that beforehand. So when you come to Ghana, make sure your eyes are on your luggage. Make sure that you do not really trust people like so much to release your funds or stuff like that, like personal security checks, so that you don't end up like getting bad reviews or falling into the categories of people that got bad reviews. Another thing when it comes to security is you don't want to be found in lonely places at odd hours. Just make sure of that you don't want to be seen in lonely places with just yourself, right? With nobody or no company. You don't want to be seen around, because anything can happen to you in that lonely place in odd hours and you alone are there. So you want to really avoid that. Okay, you guys. Another thing you want to consider when you are moving to Ghana is the cost of living in Ghana. Trust me, you really need to know about this, because it is not all that glitters that are gold, and it is not everything that you are told on social media that of course you should believe. You need to know the raw amount or the raw cost. Now, I've seen a lot of people move back to the United States because they don't have an idea of what it really costs to live in Ghana. And your cost of living in Ghana is going to depend on the kind of individual that you are. Okay, whether you are somebody that likes the luxury lifestyle or you are somebody that can actually adapt to any environment or to, you know, living like the locals, right? Of course, if you live like the locals, it is going to be very uncomfortable for you, especially as you're moving in as a newbie. Okay, aside being uncomfortable, it's also going to be very, very cheap for you. Okay, but then again, you need to know how much it costs when it comes to renting a house or an apartment. Depending on the kind of apartment that you like, is also going to vary in the amount that you are going to spend in renting, right? You need to also know the cost of food. Okay, cost of eating maybe in a month or in a week, or depending on your family, because it's going to cost differently for individuals depending on the number of your family or how large your family is, depending on the kind of food that you eat, because of course more imported foods here, because there are some vegetables and fruits here that are imported, right? They are not locally grown, so those ones are quite expensive. So if you're somebody that eats most of your diet are actually, most of the foods that are contained in your diet are actually imported, then you are going to be spending more on food. Okay, so depending on what you eat, the size of your family, and what your diet looks like, okay, you are either going to be spending more money on food or you are going to be spending less on food. Also, if you are somebody that moves a lot, of course you are going to be spending more on transportation, and depending on the kind of transportation that you are taking, whether it's a private car, whether it's an Uber, whether it's a public vehicle or whatever, is going to determine the price, right? If you take public vehicles, of course they are cheaper but uncomfortable, and you are going to be the one to, you know, choose that for yourself depending on what you have to spend or what you have in your budget, right? So cost of living is something that you should consider, because you don't want to come here with a certain amount of money and maybe you plan to live here for like 5 years only to run out of cash after the very first year. Okay, I know of somebody that actually moved back to the United States because she didn't get a record straight or finding straight. She didn't know that they pay bills or they pay rent monthly, okay, and a lot of other things that she didn't know about. So she had to leave Ghana because she ran out of cash, right? Trust me, it can be quite expensive, especially as an African American, because of course you already have the standard of life that you want or that you are already used to, and to be able to get that standard of life that you're already used to here in Ghana, it is really, really expensive. So you want to make sure that you are well prepared for it, like really, 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 really prepared for it. Now, cost of living is another thing that you should consider when you want to move to Ghana. You want to know how much it's going to cost you, depending on some certain things like what you like and what you don't like, what you kind of eat and what you cannot eat, and also how long you are going to be living or how long you are going to be staying. Okay, I hope that helps. Another thing you want to consider when you are coming to live in Ghana is how you are going to survive financially in Ghana. Trust me, there are no jobs in Ghana. So if you're planning to look for a job, that is another very difficult route that you're about to take. But then again, even if you want to work, not like there are no jobs, but it's not as much as you think, like in the US where you're coming from, and it's not easy to get. And of course, even if you land yourself a job, it's not something that may be able to pay the level of living that you already used to. It may not be able to cover for the cost of living for you, and especially with the level of living that you already know, or with the kind of level of living, standard of living rather, that you already know, what you may be able to work and earn in Ghana may not be able to cover for your cost of living at all, okay, because the pay of course is not so much like that. So you need to have a consistent flow of income or something that gives you money on a steady basis so that you'll be able to cover for your cost of living here or while you are here in Ghana. Now most people come and they do business, right? Now if you're coming here to do business, it's not a bad idea, but you should also consider the kind of business that you do. I always advise people to go into manufacturing because that is something that is not too popular in Ghana, and that is something that people should be looking at. Like that is the direction that a lot of entrepreneurs are supposed to be looking at. Real estate is now so saturated, and the people that can afford real estate are not so much because of course it's quite expensive, really expensive, especially if you're comparing it to the standard of living in Ghana and for the people of Ghana, right? It is going to be very expensive. They may not be able to afford it. So that's one business that is really going to slow you down, except your target market or your target audience are people from the United States or African Americans, right? Of course. So you want to make sure that you have a steady flow of income that can finance your live or your stay in Ghana for the period of time, because of course, like I said before, you don't want to run out of cash before you are ready to leave Ghana, if at all you are ready to leave Ghana. So you want to make that plans beforehand. And for the kind of business, if you want to go into business, you want to make sure that it is a business that can actually fund your lifestyle, or that can actually fund the standard of living that you've created for yourself. Because of course, when you are making choice for business to start, you want to start a business that people can afford to patronize you. That way you'll be able to get profits, and that way you'll be able to, live in Ghana and pay some of your bills, right? But if you are doing business, or you are doing a business that people cannot afford, then you may not be able to be getting back your money, or the money that you put in, like your capital, you may not be able to get it back, and you may not be able to get profits that may sustain you. That is if you want to fall back to business as a means of sustenance here in Ghana. But most times I advise African Americans to already have like a remote job in the US that can keep them, sustaining their standard of living or their cost of living here in Ghana. Because trust me, if you change your dollar to cedis, it goes a long way for you. But if you are actually earning in cedis, it may not really be enough for you to go by your daily needs. I don't know if that makes sense, but trust me, if you have a job, probably a remote job from the US, is going to help to afford your living cost here in Ghana and all of that. I hope I've been able to explain that better, but if you don't get it, please let me know in the comment section, and I would love to reply you and answer your questions. Okay, so another thing that you want to consider when it comes to moving here in Ghana is the people that you associate yourself with. Now, just like every other nations of the world, Ghana is just one of those nations, and just like every other nations of the world, there are good people and there are bad people in the same nation, right? Just like where you are coming from, there are good people, there are bad people. Okay, you want to make sure that you know the kind of people that you associate yourself with. You want to give it time. If you're looking for friends, or if you're looking for friendship, you want to give it time, to nurture. You want to give it time. You want to make sure that time opens them up to see if there are people that are going to be trustworthy, so that you don't fall into the wrong hands and get yourself used, and then you will be saying some bad stuffs about Ghana, which is not something that I would want to hear from you in a long time. So make sure that you're doing your due diligence in picking your friends and the kind of people that you want in your circle, especially when it comes to the locals. Okay, make sure that you are taking your time to pick them so that they don't end up you don't end up being a victim of the bad people. whatever. But then again, just be sure of the people that you mingle with and the people that you call friends. Okay, that's another tip for me. Another tip for me is going to be going through the right channels. Now, if you want to come to Ghana, there are right channels, there are right bodies, okay, there are right security agencies that you should meet or that you should go to or that you should contact when it comes to maybe doing your visa, or when it comes to picking you up from the airport, or when it comes to showing you around, or when it comes to, helping you find an apartment and all of that. Please go through the right channels that are registered. Okay, if you are looking for an apartment, go through the right agencies, right? If you are looking for hotels to book, go through the right agencies and all of that. I made a video on how you can be able to get that, or how you can be able to navigate Ghana. So if you're interested, go down to my description box and click on the playlist link there, and you're going to see a bunch of videos that are going to actually help you to get one or two knowledge. So make sure that you're going through the right channels, and make sure that you are going through the right bodies that are involved in getting some certain things done. The next thing I'm going to talk about is documentation. Now, you guys, I see a lot of people struggle with this a lot. They think that there are certain things that you don't have to really do when it comes to documentations, but trust me, Ghana is big on documentation. It may not be like what it seems, but that is what it is. Ghana is really big on documentation, and I would advise you, if you are coming to Ghana, just make sure that your documentations are right. And right in the sense that if you want to live for a period of 5 years, make sure you have that kind of visa, okay, that will enable you live for a period of 5 years. And of course, when you get your visa and after 5 years you still feel like, okay, you want to live more, make sure you are doing the right things. Make sure you are applying for the right documents that are going to help you to live more in the country, okay? Because of course you don't want a situation where while you are leaving you get harassed, or while you are leaving you want to do something else and then you don't have the document to do it, and then you are not able to do it just because you don't have the right document. So make sure that you have the right documents such as your permanent residency or your residency permit, documents like your work permit or your study permit, whatever the case may be, or whatever your case may be. If you're coming to study, you need a study permit. If you're coming to live, you need a residency permit, depending on how long. And I have discussed how you can go about this, applying documents that you need and all of that. If you're also wanting to just leave, you also need your Ghana card or your Ghana non-citizen card to enable you leave, because that is one thing that you are going to need when it comes to opening a bank account for yourself, and doing all of those transactions, and also getting yourself a SIM card or a phone number, right? You will need your Ghana non-citizen card to do that. So you want to make sure that you are getting the right documents generally. You don't want to, sleep on that. Make sure you get the right documents. It's easier for you to navigate the country or to get whatever you want if you have your documents complete and up to date. Just make sure of that. Okay, I've tried a lot to cover a lot of things, but if I did not talk about anything that you would love to know, please let me know in the comment section. And if you love content about living in Africa or living in Ghana, doing business, navigating the beautiful continent, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because this is what I do on this channel. Okay, do not forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Bye.